And may we say good afternoon to everyone and welcome to the Township of Douro-Dummer and our regularly scheduled council meeting for the 19th of January, 2021. We welcome everyone, remind you that we indeed are live on YouTube and being recorded so that anyone can go back and watch the proceedings of this meeting. And of course, because of COVID-19, we are all doing the very best we can and meeting from home, utilizing the Zoom platform. So we are doing the very best we can. We hope not in the too distant future, we'll be back in our council chambers. I'm going to call the roll now with members of council to let everyone know who is in attendance. First of all, Deputy Mayor Moher.
Here.
Thank you, Carl. Councillor Watt. Councillor Landsman. And Councillor Watson. Okay, all members of council are here. Our staff joining us this afternoon, temporary CAO, Martina Chait-Hartwig, our manager of public works, Jake Condon. Jake is in the background there somewhere. If he's not on the back of a snowplow, it's coming down pretty hard right now. Our senior administrative assistant, Vanessa Sweeting, and administrative assistant, Nicole Zenner, are also here in the background pushing the buttons. So, with everyone here and all of council present, I'm going to officially call the meeting to order at 5:01 p.m. We respectfully acknowledge that we are on the treaty and traditional territory of the Mishi-Saglig Anishinaabe, and we offer our gratitude to the First Nations people for their care for and their teachings about our earth and our relations. May we honor those teachings. Please join us for a moment of silent reflection, please. Thank you all very much. Any disclosure of pecuniary interest with any of the matters that are on the agenda tonight? If so, raise your hand. Seeing no hands. A motion, please, to adopt the agenda for tonight's meeting, please. Heather and Carl. All in favor? All opposed? That motion is approved. The minutes from the January 5th regular meeting are before you. A motion, please, to receive and adopt those minutes. Councillor Landsman, Councillor Watt. All in favor? All opposed? That motion is approved. We're going to move right into delegations, petitions, presentations, public meetings. And we do have a public meeting. This is about a proposed zoning bylaw amendment, application R0820 for Fisher. And this is a public meeting. I would like a motion, please, to call the public meeting officially to order. Heather and Sheila, all in favor? All opposed? That motion is approved. We are officially in a public meeting. Now, Martina, for the record, anyone has been given the opportunity to speak or to ask questions or to express themselves during this meeting. Is that correct?
That is correct, Mayor Jones. There was notice circulated to all the neighbors and all of the agencies along with the applicant and their agent, and no one chose to attend the meeting today. Okay,
I will call on you then, Martina, to review this file and any comments that we perhaps have received. Go ahead, please.
Very good. So this is a zoning bylaw amendment for file R0820. The location of the subject lands is Concession 8, Part Lot 7, Plan 4920, Part 1, and Parts 1 and 2 on 45R17039, also known as 522 County Road 40 in the Dummer Ward. The owner is Dean Fisher and the agent is John Messick. A notice of public meeting and complete application was given on the 15th day of December 2020 by first-class prepaid mail and email, as prescribed under the regulations of the Ontario Planning Act. The purpose of this application is to amend the zoning of parcels of land in Concession 8, Part Lot 7. The subject lands are currently zoned Special District 23 zone. The effect of this bylaw amendment is to remove the Special District 23 zone and return to rural RU zone. Once the severed parcel is merged with the benefiting lands, both parcels will comply with the regulations of the RU zone. This rezoning is required as a condition of application for consent file B2619 for a severance of Part 1 for the purpose of a lot addition to 544 County Road 40 that was conditionally approved by Peterborough County on December 18th, 2019. We have received 2 comments regarding this file. The first one is from Enbridge Gas. They state that they do not object to the proposed application. And we have also received a letter from the Otonabee Region Conservation Authority. In summary, they state the following. Otonabee Conservation states that the application remains consistent with sections 3.1 related to natural heritage of the provincial policy statement. Further, they are in the opinion that the application remains consistent with section 2.1 related to natural heritage and 2.2 related to water of the provincial policy statement, and conforms to section 4.2.4 of the growth plan. And further, that permits from the Conservation Authority will be required prior to the placement of any fill, grade alteration, or construction activities taking place on the property. There's also a staff report that was attached to your agenda package to just provide a little more background information.
Okay, thank you very much, Martina. And for the record, no one has asked to be part of this public meeting or make their questions in person.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions of clarity for members of council? Go ahead. Last call. Any questions of clarity? Okay, I'd like a motion, please, to close the public meeting officially, please. Carl? And seconded by Sheila. All in favor? All opposed? That motion is approved. Okay, so the public meeting is over. We are now back in open session. 11.1 on our agenda deals with this matter, bylaw 2021-19. Carl, go ahead.
I think we may have lost a couple of members of council.
I'm seeing everyone.
Have you? Okay, well, it's just that Heather and Sheila seem to be frozen at the one spot there for a moment during the last vote and so on.
It must have been your internet connection, Carl.
Okay, good.
I don't think anyone else, did anyone else notice that?
No, I see it fine.
No, it was your internet connection then.
Okay.
Is there anything that you didn't hear, Carl? Just to be clear.
No, I heard it all. Yeah.
Okay. So with council's permission then, bylaw 2021-19. Tom, go ahead.
I will move that that bylaw be passed.
Seconder, please. Carl, is there any discussion on the motion? Go ahead, Sheila.
Is it 2021-09 rather than 19?
I don't know. I'm just going from what I saw, 2021-09, perhaps, is it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
That is correct.
Okay. 09. That's the motion on the floor. All in favor? All opposed? That motion is approved. Other business and staff reports. Item 9.1 is an application to remove the holding symbol for file R0920 for Mundell. Martina, give us the background on that, please, for everyone.
Very good, Mr. Mayor. So this is an application to remove a holding symbol. It's similar to a zoning bylaw amendment, but because it's just the removal of a holding, a public meeting is not required, which is why one did not happen earlier in the meeting. This property is owned by Michael and Marcy Mundell. It's located at Part Lot 14 and 15, Concession 2, 1105 County Road 4 in the Dummer Ward. The roll number is 1522-020-003-28200. Mr. and Mrs. Mundell have applied for a zoning bylaw amendment in order to remove the holding symbol from the subject lands. To remove the holding symbol from The removal of the holding symbol will zone the subject lands as rural RU zone. This amendment is required to allow future residential development on the subject lands. In support of the removal of the holding symbol, the following studies were completed and peer reviews were completed as well and have come back acceptable. A scoped environmental impact study completed by Oak Ridge Environmental, May 2020. A phase 1 karst hazard investigation completed by Oak Ridge Environmental, March 2020. And an aggregate resource impact review completed by Oak Ridge Environmental, November 2019. After the completion of all of the studies and the peer reviews, the application appears to be in conformity with the provincial policy statement, and there is no evidence that this application conflicts with the growth plan. The official plant designation on the property is rural, and residential uses are permitted in the rural designation. The requested zoning bylaw amendment is to remove the holding symbol in order to allow for future residential development. And it's recommended that this application for Marcy and Michael Mundell be approved as presented.
Thank you, Martina. That is the official report. Are there any questions from any members of council on this application? Carl, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Martina, for all the detail on this. I read the environmental study and the peer review, and some of the items on there seem to be a little bit over the top. Is there concerns there of staff that we should be raising with our conservation authority? Or is it ever there? Are we in a new era here of this amount of detail?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, we are in a bit of a new era because of the new provincial policy statement and how that integrates with the growth plan, and then how it has to be applied to properties in our township.
Okay, it must have been very costly.
This was a long process. The previous owner had started it, and then Marcy and Mike continued the process to completion.
Thank
It's
you.
been going on for quite a while now. Yeah.
It started late 2018, I believe. So.
Okay, any other questions on the report? No other questions? Would anyone like to make a motion, please? Carl, go ahead.
I would move the application that the recommendation be approved.
And a seconder to that, please. Heather? Call for the vote. All in favor? All opposed? That motion is approved. Thank you very much. Item 9.2, we have Jake on the line, I trust. County Road 38 Boulevard winter maintenance. We discussed this at our last council meeting. We sent it back to staff to investigate, and that was the clearing of snow from sidewalks. So Jake, I'm going to let you plow through this one.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the report is before you is a result of a letter that we received December 21st requesting winter maintenance on the paved boulevard along County Road 38 from Banks Avenue to just south of the bridge and south of Rock Road in the village of Warsaw. I've attached the sidewalk maintenance policy to this to speak of what sidewalks we do maintain as of now. And also I've included the definition of a sidewalk under the minimum maintenance standards. And as you see, paved boulevards do not fall under this definition, so therefore they do not need or fall under the maintenance standards for maintenance of sidewalks, for particularly for the winter. Excuse me, and historically the township has not provided sidewalk winter maintenance other than what was identified in the sidewalk policy, and that's the sidewalk along County Road 4 leading to the school. This is provided by a contractor, a private contractor, as we do not have the equipment to do so or the manpower to provide this maintenance. In discussions with the contractor, it was estimated that this would be at a minimum an extra hour to complete this service. His hourly rate is approximately $100 per hour. This is an additional hour to the, how do I say, this is an additional hour or $100 per service. So if he had to perform this service 3 times a day, it would be, $300 for that service. There will be some additional costs at the startup of this as well for, and some assistance from the township staff to clear the buildup of snow and ice that is there at the moment. And so he can get it down to the pavement so he can maintain it from there on forward. So my conclusion is that the estimated costs to perform the maintenance on this section would be an additional 1 hour or $100 per service. There's also continual maintenance cost and liability to the township. Once the township makes a decision in favor of waiving this policy, the township will be responsible indefinitely to maintain this boulevard in the winters to come. And this also falls under the minimum maintenance standards, which would be during all seasons, not just the winter. My recommendation is that the Public Works report before you, dated January 9th, regarding County Road 38 Boulevard winter maintenance be received and the council direction is requested. There will be a yearly financial impact to the maintenance budget based on the number of weather events for that year. Thank you.
Thank you, Jake. Very concise and very to the point. So now it's up to council to make a decision on these kinds of things come by, and it's not easy sometimes. It's just the right thing to do. Okay, let's hear Carl. Go ahead, then Tom.
Thank you, Mr. Warden, or Mr. Mayor. Just wondering, do we have any idea the number of people that might use this sidewalk? I guess you can't put down a traffic counter for pedestrians. Is there anyone giving us an estimate of how many per day might use this sidewalk? Because we have other sidewalks in the village that probably have equal use. We also have a sidewalk in the village of Douro on County Road 8 that looks like they've made some arrangement with the county to have that cleared, because it looks like it's cleared almost after every storm. Any information in that regard?
Jake, I don't know if you have a foot counter out there. I know there are new homes up there and an increased number of youngsters using that route, and a lot of people walk that route. I know that.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor. I don't know offhand for a count on that. I just know just from the letter that we received that there's many folks, young children, seniors, and disabled that use the sidewalk. And as for the other sidewalks within the village or in the village of Douro, I believe that that section in Douro is maybe provided, whoever's doing the snow plowing for the church may be taking it upon themselves to plow that section as well.
Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, last meeting when we discussed this, I brought up the fact that when this boulevard was put in and so on, it was part of a project that we got some government money for, and we put in money of our own. And at that particular time, it was put in there for that very reason. There is a lot of people that use that, kids coming down to school, people that have children that they babysit, seniors. It is a very well used boulevard. I know I take my dog for a walk around the village here, and I do see someone's been shoveling, keeping those fairly clean, but that one does get used a great deal. And the money was spent on that specifically because there is a lot of people that do use it. So I do know it's extra cost, but I would certainly be in favor of taking it under our umbrella and keeping it clean for the use that it does get.
Okay, thank you for that. Any other members of council would like to? Martina, go ahead. No, sorry, you're muted. Go ahead, Sheila.
Thank you. I'm just looking at the policy that Jake provided with the report, and there are what six other roads that we do not do any maintenance on, and presently there's only one that we do winter maintenance on it. While I would like to see it done, I think it would for safety. Is that going to sort of open the floodgates?
Jake, any comment, or Martina over that one?
Yes, through you, Mr. Mayor. I would caution council on their decision because this could, you're very, very right. It could open up the, that we would be performing this on all sidewalks.
Are all sidewalks have the same situation going on? The same use, the same environment, the same, sometimes it's apples and oranges here.
I believe some of the other sidewalks within the village residents are taking it upon themselves to clear them as of now, so it isn't a concern as much as this particular one.
Okay, anybody else? Go ahead, Heather.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to Jake. With respect to the minimum maintenance standards, I think I got that term correct. The sidewalk winter maintenance, you're talking about the number of occurrences that would occur. So $100 per occurrence, but you mentioned that it's possible that the contract would have to do three visits per snow event, potentially. So what is the maintenance standard with the sidewalks specifically? Like, can we do them once during a snow event and then come back the next day? Like, how does that work on sidewalks versus roads?
I don't have the standards right in front of me right now, but there is standard for snowfall amount. So the depth of snow, once it reaches that amount, it has to be cleared within so many hours. And then there's also standards for ice formation or ice on the sidewalk when that is current, or that is on the sidewalk. You have so many hours before it has to be treated or dealt with. So
sure,
what I'm
I
saying
appreciate. Sorry.
is that there could be, depending on the storm, which there could be additional services in a single day, as opposed to just, I don't want council to think it's just, it could only be $100 more. It could be additional cost to that.
Per snow event, not per swipe, but like one snow event could be several swipes, so to speak, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Could be.
Yeah.
So not knowing the minimum maintenance standards and the impact on budget, I feel like we need more information to be able to do something a little bit more long-term planning on this and the impact of it, knowing that if we do move forward with the this particular one, we're required to do it, in perpetuity. So I don't know if there's an opportunity to have you come back to us again with a bit more information about that and what the projected cost could be overall. I feel a little uneasy with what we're looking at, the information we have.
Jake, in the spirit of compromise, I'm just thinking outside the box here. Is it something we could say that we would do a minimum once as a minimum per snow event, at least once, and not commit to every 10 minutes because the snow keeps coming down?
Yes, that's the contractor as it is now does not perform it every hour or every half hour. I can state that the minimum maintenance standards are, we perform above the minimum maintenance standards 99.9% of the time, even on our roadways. So there is quite a bit of time there in the minimum maintenance standards to before we need to provide service. So there is a leeway there. It would have to be a pretty severe storm to be providing service 3 times, 4 times a day. So if that provides any more information.
Life is full of compromise. Go ahead, Carl, and then Martina.
Yeah, my couple questions. Is this a regular sidewalk or is it a paved boulevard like the one on County Road 29 leading up to the college in Lakefield? And that's
Yeah,
one
through
question.
you, Mr. Mayor. It is a paved boulevard, as I had mentioned there. That's why it does not fall under the minimum maintenance standards as it is. That's why we don't perform, or we don't need to perform winter maintenance on it.
Okay, thank you, Carl. Okay, everyone's had a chit chat about it. I guess it's time to hear from Martina.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Two just ideas that have been circulated while we've been discussing this. The first is regarding the minimum maintenance standards. I know Jake has touched on this, but once we begin setting a standard for this boulevard, if we use the standard of a sidewalk, for example, which I think is what we would have to do if we were to maintain it, we cannot abdicate that responsibility. So we can't start maintaining it this season and then decide next season that we're no longer going to maintain it because it's too costly or takes up too much operational time. Once we start, we are beholden to that decision indefinitely. So I just want to make council aware of that. And then the other thing I was thinking is that the question about the actual cost, what we could do is we could do an analysis of a typical winter. So we could take, let's say, last year and the year before is winter, and we can look at how many snow days they were and how much snow actually fell within those periods, and then come back to let you know how many maintenance events would have to occur within that time. It would take a little bit of time to procure that data and analyze it, but that's one way that we could look at what the occurrence rate would look like in a typical year.
Good common sense approach. I mean, we had this sidewalk or whatever you want to call it built for people to walk on, not to get covered up with snow.
Yeah, I will note just on that comment, Mr. Mayor, that I think it was built as a boulevard specifically because then the township would not be beholden to the maintenance standards, and that the county as well, because they were the partner. The county does not typically provide snow clearing on sidewalks. So I feel like that is also part of the reason a boulevard was installed as opposed to a sidewalk.
It was also safety reasons, I remember at the time.
Absolutely, yeah, because it's very narrow through there, and then the bridge and the water and everything else that takes place.
Okay, well, I'm wanting to hear a motion of some kind to at least get this underway, but that's up to council. Go ahead, Tom.
And again, going back to what I perceived that we did this for in the first place, I would be in favor of doing it. I think it'd be quick. How many times we did the one from the former butter tart factory to the school would be comparable to how many times we would do that one. So it should actually be pretty quick. Never mind how many snowfalls we have, because we can never predict snowfalls. In the last couple of years, how many times have we done that one? It would be the same cleaning, I would think. But I would certainly be in favor for the purpose that this was put in to go ahead and do the cleaning. And I don't think it would fall under the snowplow or the sidewalk act, because it's not really a sidewalk. So we wouldn't be setting a precedent, I don't think.
Well, let me hear a motion from someone then.
All right, I'll make a motion that we proceed to engage the contractor to plow it as often as they do the one going from the up through County Road 4 to the school.
Is there going to be a seconder to that motion? Last call for a seconder to that motion. Sheila will second it. Okay, there's no other comment on the motion? Carl?
I feel I cannot support this at this time without getting further information as suggested by Martina. I feel that we probably a motion to look at it at a near future meeting after we have the information to be able to move forward.
Okay, that's not killing the idea. It's to get some statistical information so we have a clear idea of the cost and the impact. That's what Carl's argument is. Go ahead, Heather.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I too feel the same. The information that's before us this evening just doesn't sit well with me to make a decision, knowing that the decision that we make will impact the department and how we manage that sidewalk for all time. So I'd like to see some more information from staff about potential costs, as well as looking at perhaps an overall potential plan, futuristic, 25 years out, 50 years out, whatever it is, so that we are looking at the possibility of having other sidewalks within the municipality maintained to the same standard. So I can't support the motion that's on the floor right now.
Okay, I don't want to see us take forever either to get this underway. Okay, the motion's on the floor and is duly seconded by Sheila. So we'll call for the vote. All in favor? Okay, that motion, I'm afraid, is lost. I would entertain another motion. Carl, you had the words coming out of your mouth.
I would move that we receive the information with thanks. Thanks very much, Jake and Martina, and refer it for a few near future reconsideration or consideration after we've got more details about the true definition of that piece of land, whether it's a paved boulevard or a paved sidewalk, and also the estimated cost, annual costs that could be realized.
Good. Well said. Clear motion. Is there a seconder to that motion? Heather, is there any discussion on the motion? We're going to call for the vote. All in favor? That motion is approved, and I hope that this can be dealt with in a very quick time frame and not make these good people wait. It's quite a number of people walking down that road every day. It's a safety issue. Okay, thank you very much for that. Moving ahead to committee minutes and other reports. We have the minutes of the Donwood Parks Committee minutes from the 9th of December. A motion to receive those minutes, please. Tom and Carl, all in favor? All opposed? That motion is approved. We have 10.2 Service Delivery Implementation Committee, the meeting of December 8th. That was a while ago, well before Christmas. Carl, are you going to move to receive those minutes?
Yes, and I've got a couple comments as well.
A seconder, please. Sheila, go ahead, Carl.
Been a couple comments. You can see the who's on the committee, and there's various things. If you review the minutes, there's various things already started with the initiative of staff. So appreciate that very much. And at our last meeting, when we've had two, one thing I suggested that the staff do is to be promoting the H&R professional services soon in the process. Because I think if we recall going through the service review, the fact that we don't have a professional process in place hinders some health and safety issues and other issues. So I think that was one thing I suggested, that we bring back to council some way to move forward on that. And the other thing was project manager, that we, even though it's COVID right now, we don't want to get into too detailed of implementation of the various recommendations, but we should prepare the ground to basically get going with a project manager on day one when COVID is over, because there's some good material in this service review, as we'll all agree to, I'm sure, we can't lose sight of, and want to move forward with it fairly quickly over the next 2 years. So here were my comments.
Any other comments on the motion? Go ahead, Tom.
Yep, just real quickly. Thanks very much, Carl. Yeah, everything I read in there, very, very good. And I appreciate staff going ahead and implementing what they have done so far. The HR thing, is that something that we're looking at? And I just want this in my mind, to have someone on staff, or just when we need them kind of thing? Because we also have to look at the fact that, our new CAO, when that happens, may have a lot of experience in that. And I don't want to get carried away with, spending money we don't have to.
Carl?
No, that was not that's perfectly good comment, Councillor Watt. And the new CAO should have a big part of that, because it's important to, because we've been kind of limping through that process for a number of years in Douro-Dummer, and it's created some issues. We've got some health and safety issues with some of our buildings. So we want to make sure we move forward with our due diligence to make sure this is in place very, very quickly. So let's do the framework now to have the options open for whoever that new CAO is, that we can move almost on day one.
The HR aspect is extremely critical. It's something that we have not paid nearly enough attention to. So we've got to advance that. Go ahead, Heather, speak to the motion.
Thank you. Just actually to that point, as a follow-up on the HR issue, great work by the committee. Incidentally, Deputy Mayor Moher, I did have an opportunity to look at the minutes, and it's nice to see things are moving forward. To be able to expedite the HR and those concerns, I believe one of the recommendations that were made that are not yet underway is to establish a committee of council specific to these issues. Is there any reason why we can't move forward with that at this point in time to get those preliminary foundational pieces in place? Has the committee discussed that at all?
That's another, it's all part of it. That's a good idea. And I think Martina can probably comment further on that. I saw her hand up.
Martina, go ahead. She's been extremely involved in this subject. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you. You're absolutely correct, Councillor Watson. We have not convened our first meeting of the HR committee, which we did set the terms of reference, and we have a membership list. To Deputy Mayor's point regarding HR services, I have been collecting some proposals and quotes from various sources that we could use throughout county, and seeing what other townships use to provide these resources. And I'm almost done that process, so I will be bringing that back to the HR committee, and that will be the first thing we discuss, so that when the new CAO arrives, they'll have that framework to look at right away and help you make decisions.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay, we do have a motion on the floor. All in favor? All opposed? That motion is approved. We'll move ahead to bylaws. We've dealt with 11.1. 11.2 is 2021-10 for the removal of the holding symbol, and a motion to approve that. Carl and Tom, go ahead. All in favor? All opposed? That motion is approved. Correspondent action items, we have none. Information items, we have 3 updates. Gravel Watch Ontario, the EOWC newsletter, and the Daleview Road Project Landowner Correspondence Tracker. One motion, please, for 13.1 to 13.3. Councillor Watson and Councillor Landsman. Any comments, questions on that motion? All in favor? All opposed? That motion is approved. We have no accounts to deal with tonight. Notices of motion. Does anyone have a notice of motion? Seeing no hands. Any community announcements? There's not a lot going on, unless it's inside your house, I guess. Hopefully that doesn't last too long. We have no closed session. Confirming bylaw 2021-13. A motion, please, for that. Tom and Carl, all in favor. All opposed. That motion's approved. And a motion to adjourn. I'd like to give you that chance, Martina, but we can't do that. Councillor Watson and Councillor Landsman, all in favor? That motion is approved. And that is it for the Douro-Dummer Council meeting here on the 19th of January. Thank you to everyone who is watching on YouTube. And again, I urge you, please stay safe, follow the directions of the health professionals. Let's stay home and let's all be part of the solution and not part of the problem. Let's get this over as soon as we can so we can get back to normal. So
Hear,
on
hear.
behalf of all of us at Douro-Dummer, thank you very much for being with us. We'll see you again in 2 weeks. Goodbye.
Good night, all.
Thanks.